Alright, you guys, I don't know how much of this I filmed and realized that the mic was off. Trying to get to the fuel injectors, clean the fuel injectors, because, I was kind of like, it seems like really dirty injectors. We popped this off, and it is pretty bad inside here. There's a bunch of series of bolts up there, around over here. You're going to take those off. You're going to take the computer off first. And there's a wiring harness. And it can only go one way. It's like an Amphenol or something connector. You got your main engine connector. This boat has a battery disconnect. So I disconnected that. Took my 3 bolts out of my VST. So it's just kind of dangling there. There's an oiler line. Or it's like those standard kind of connectors, but that dude is right there, and I've just got it disconnected, and the line is kind of hanging down in here. Put my hand on it and show you, it's right there. Got to disconnect that. It's still on the intake housing. Then, coming out of the VST up here, we got to go into, I guess they call this as like a throttle position. Might be a TPS, I can't remember. But they've marked it for us, which is good. So we can take this out, we can just take our screwdriver and undo it. That releases that from there. We've got a couple little vacuum lines that we'll have to take off. And then the VST is loose from the intake, and then we can take the intake off. I always like to go for these really hard ones underneath first, but this should be our fuel rail. And probably gonna need a really big screwdriver. And, we could take the fuel lines off, but this is like high pressure. I mean, I measured it the other day and we had 35 pounds of pressure. There we go. Oh, come on. You need to use the impact gun on this one. Boom, bah. And it comes loose. May have to just pry on this gently to see if we can get this to come out. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, see, that's our fuel rail. So I guess these are just little vacuum lines. And they've got some little connectors up in there, but I'm gonna try to get this off here. That kind of gets this out of the way. And then this is all disconnected. We do have this wire here. It's going way over there. Just kind of get it somewhere out of the way. And this is all disconnected. So that's all good. Let me just make sure there's nothing else on this other side. I think this should come off. We got a black. I don't know that this makes a difference. They're both brown. Get a paint pen and we can just kind of mark this side, and somewhere up here mark it so that that's what I like to do, even though it doesn't matter which they're bi-directional, like there's just ground going through it or not going through it. We'll get a paint pen just for later. It'll make it easier. Yeah, I think the only thing that we maybe need to disconnect is this fuel filter has got a little harness thing. So I'm learning as we go. course, that one's way over there. Yeah. I have to get a 7/16 for that. Well, I got a bad habit of just going back and forth to the garage. Yeah, getting tools. I should just bring them all out here. Now, these 2 screws I think I'm going to put back so I know where they go. Yeah, there's like Mercury. You got to spend a whole hour getting one bolt out. See, this is how they charge a whole lot of money. They could have made this bracket so that this bolt would have been real easy to get out. But no, it's the filter and everything is just kind of in the way. So you got to just sit here and do this for, a while. And then, of course, they're going to make the bolt longer than they need to make it. You can't get your hands in there. You just got to sit there and waller it out for like $4,700. So now this is all out of the way. We're going to lay this up like this. So, folks, you can see just how dirty it really is. And we'll have to get some gaskets ordered for this and maybe an O-ring kit. It really looks pretty bad. Alright, there gives you a really good shot of just how dirty the inside of this intake is. And it looked like we had something going on really on the bottom 2 cylinders. What is that, 5 and 6? Not so much up here, but I say 5 and 6. This is really just the intake. And I guess those butterflies just let air in, mixed with the fuel. And then those little beige things is the injectors. You can see right there under the first set of injectors, there's some Allen bolts there, or Allen heads, and I believe that releases your fuel rail, and that allows us to get into the fuel injectors. So I think, yeah, this came off pretty easy. So under this tab up here, we've got, oh yeah, let's just take that screw out, see what happens. Obviously, we're gonna have to get some new gaskets. Looks like there's another little screw right there, and that is on the plastic. So let's take it out. I don't really see anything else holding it. Or do I? I do see another bolt. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now it's just a matter of trying to figure out how the clips that secure everything together there. Well, this looks like that's going to come off. Oh, wait till my Uncle Scotty sees this. He'll be like, this is a kind of a nightmare. Not really. And the other part too is trying to figure out how our clips come undone. There's an O-ring. Let's go take these out. There's another O-ring. Well, may have to read the manual on this one. Okay, we finally got those injectors off. And I got my all-tool injector cleaner out here. And so one of the things, like, this is the old pump. So nowhere in the manual or nowhere in any of the literature that I could find or in bold print does it say what you should use for cleaning fluid. Well, I use Simple Green and this pump went out on me. And so I got a replacement pump from All Tool, and they were great. They just charged me just the shipping to get the pump, and it came with a new filter. Of course, I had to take it all apart and try to figure out what was wrong with it. But I got the new pump in, and it's pumping good. So then I was asking them, I said, well, what do you recommend? What should you put in it? And she said for testing, you should use alcohol. So I went to Walgreens and got the highest alcohol content I could, which was 91%. And then she said for cleaning, I don't even know, it's Elza. I don't know if I was talking to he or she, I'm sorry. Or whatever gender. Anyway, then they recommended, I'm sorry, they recommended that you use, for your testing, to use alcohol, and for your cleaning to use injector cleaner. So that they recommended that you use their 3M's fuel injector cleaner. But I got to get what I can get. I don't want to order something and be waiting. So anyway, I got some Lucas. It's a lubricant with injector cleaners and fuel conditioners. Neutralizes poor quality fuel, treats 100 gallons of gasoline or diesel fuel. Okay, this is the cleaner. So on the cleaner side is up here on top, and that's where you would put this. And then the testing, we're going to pour in here, and we move this up and down with this lever. So to do that, you got to take this off. There's a bunch of videos out there, but alcohol's not going to hurt anything, except for maybe your rubber parts. We're going to replace the O-rings. So even if it gets to the O-rings, we're going to replace them. So these I have not tested, I have not cleaned, and that's like the first 4. Just open up a bottle. I guess these have like a pour spout. Still got to looks like you got to take off the little dealio here, cap. Anyway, I'm just going to pour this. Whoa! Right. And then there's a little indicator on the side that tells you how much fluid is in it. Whoa. Alright, so that's probably, I like these bottles. I might keep one of them because it's got a little where you could, if you needed to put some gasoline in here and squirt it out, you could do that. Now, these came with a bunch of different fittings. So for these injectors, everything works just fine. But I am real curious about like how these perform. Alright, it's on there tight. I'm just going to turn this on. And I don't have a lot of power out in this garage, so I don't know. We're just going to go up and down and see one of these tests. So let's put it on something like, usually you want to do like a leakage test first. But I'm going to do, just because I'm testing, I'm going to go over to this variable speed. And then I don't know what my pressure is, but I know that fuel rail was sitting at about 35 psi. I'm guessing that is right. I'll turn it up if I need to. So I had this open, so. So I don't know, not bad. I mean, they're fairly even. Yeah, honestly, these four are fairly even. Let's see if we just keep, maybe that's not enough volume. So let's do a leakage test. So we're not getting anything leaking through them, it looks like. Alright, no leakage. Let's do like a high-speed test. Let's, I think that's probably should only be a minute. But this one's a little, it's not bad. It's a little low. From the 80 millimeter mark, these are down, This is down some. So let's do this again. Now, also, by the way, I took out all the fuel filters. So up on top, there's a little filter. And it's right here. So we're going to replace all those filters. I wish I could zoom in and you could see them. They look really bad. So the injectors might have been fine, but the filters were pretty much toast, it looks like. All right, so we're on 1 minute. Let's try this again. That's more like, should be 30 seconds. So the two on the right are right at about 90. This one's down some. And then that one's down a little too. Still not bad. Let's do an accelerating test. So honestly, that looks about the same result as we got before. I'm going to clean them anyway, regardless. We've got them at this point. Test these other two that I have. And so I'll take these two off and just kind of set them over here. See, I wish I had a 6, like you'd have they make one for 6-cylinder, but I didn't get that. That's more money. So empty this. So these are two that we kind of ran some, alcohol through them. Everything seems to be great. And then the two on the left are new ones. So let's just start with our, variable speed test like we did earlier. Close the hatch, and then we're going to hit play. Uh-oh. So I don't know, I noticed this one kind of, its spray pattern was a little weird. So let's go to a high-speed test. So the one on the right kind of like burped, if you saw that. As far as volume, they seem pretty good. I'm trying to look at these streams to see if I see anything really weird. This one sprays off to the side a little. We'll stop it at, say, 30. And I don't know, it'll let you go up, but it's not letting me go. This is a bad design because it should be able to go below that. You know, if you go, say we go to 2, because we don't know what the pulse width is this. See, it just gives you 1 minute of working time. You don't need that much. I'm going to go back to 3 here. We empty it. All right. Accelerating test. Yeah, I mean, I think probably the pressure is fine. I think we're like 2 or something, 20 pounds. Alright. So then let's go to like an idle test. So that'd be idle. And I'm guessing that we're all right for pressure. Yeah, I think it's probably fine for pressure. Let's go to this idle spray volume. I don't know, folks. I think they're getting better. But maybe the real big issue is these injectors really needed, you know, the filters replaced. The filters may have really been like a big issue, a big problem with this outboard, I think. Seems like the injector itself is doing quite well, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see how they do volume wise. I think the two on my right was my lowest volume of the other two I had, and then, you know, the two that I originally had on the left was the best, and I put them up, and then, you know, then of course we got these two on. They look fairly even. Almost seem like a hookup. Not sure. Let it settle out. We look across the thing and see that the two on the right are right about 50, 49. Turn this off. And I don't know about that beeping. I don't like that beeping. You know, I wish they would do away with that too. You know, it'd be like maybe one time and tell you it's done, it's done. We don't need it to just keep beeping. All right, everybody, I'm just out here monkeying around and knocking stuff around. What in the world? Injectors go. That's the big harness. And one thing you'll notice, this is kind of almost like a classic carburetor style, where, you know, you're going to, you know, open up these butterflies. I'm assuming is going to be, you know, our air intake. Sorry. But anyway, so there's, you know, when you give it throttle, you'll notice that this bottom butterfly kind of just barely goes to here. And then, so you know, it's like pickup, and then the top one opens. But then when we open it, you know, it's not opening the top one at the same time. Seems like this would be wide open throttle, and the top one's not opening at the same time as the bottom one is. Looks like there's two adjustments. There's one here and there's one here. So this is obviously the stop. So this is showing you where that's stopping at. See, and that's the other thing, it springs back, you know, and we do have a length here. So this could be the way it's supposed to work. Seems kind of an odd thing that you'd have two butterflies opening at different times. Seems like they would open at the same time to let the same amount of air in. But anyway,